Hello and welcome back to the Cyberlord YouTube channel. Today's review is the Doctor Who story review. It's Doctor Who Frontios. Now this is a Peter Davison story in the year 1984. So in his final series, Peter Davison, before his regeneration into Colin Baker. And this is a story that I've watched really recently as I've been watching through all the Peter Davison stories. I reviewed a few of them, but I've missed a lot of the earlier ones out. The first one that I've done of his is The Five Doctors, which is sort of bang in the middle of his series, really, or I suppose you could say more into his second half as the Doctor. But I will always be planning to do all the other ones in the future as well, along with all the Hartnell, Troughton, Pertwee, Tom, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, all of the Doctor Who classic stories, and I will probably end up going on to watch, I've already watched them, but to reviewing the new stories as well. So we'll give our usual review of the story. I'll tell you my sort of brief overview, if you like, of what the story was like and what happened in it. So there will be spoilers, there always will be, but this is a review. I'm telling you what I think. That's what I'll certainly do. I'll tell you what I think about it, and I'll also take if I recommend it to you. And I'll start off by saying it's a good story. It's not the greatest, but I did enjoy it. It was quite... it's a four-parter, so an hour and a half. The first two episodes were really quite boring. It was until you got to sort of the next two after that where the story started to develop and started to get a lot better. As these guys came into the story, really, the Tractators, who are not the BBC's best design of monsters throughout the 80s, really, because they pretty much just are green slugs. But I do quite like them. Really, they're quite sort of harmless, really, as long as the leader's away, because they're pretty much just sort of creatures from under the ground that live on soil and, that sort of thing. So pretty much like insects in real life, really, but they've brought it into Doctor Who and made them into giant slugs that talk. But there you are. Start from the beginning, I suppose. The TARDIS gets drawn into the planet Frontios, where pretty much on that planet is the last surviving humans, which, when you think about it, doesn't make too much sense because they went on to do stories like the one on the top of my head, Utopia, which are the last surviving humans, and it's a different planet. But that's Doctor Who. Things change throughout the years. And it's a story pretty much where they get there and the TARDIS gets destroyed pretty much instantly within the first episode. I think the first episode is the TARDIS is destroyed. It's the quote, what the Doctor says. We then move on to the Doctor trying to help another Doctor. I think he's a professor of science. He goes on to mention quite a few times. And he has a daughter who actually is a fun fact. The actress that plays his daughter returns in a 1988 story with Sylvester McCoy, Happiness Patrol. There's a fun fact for you. So by episode 2, Turlough becomes, he sort of sees the Tractators, but we don't get to see them, and he sort of gets possessed because he gets sort of frightened by them and starts screaming, I've seen the Tractators, and isn't very happy. So the Doctor goes down there, Tegan follows, they get trapped, and there's another cliffhanger, another end of the episode. Then we move on to the Doctor coming face to face with the Tractators, and he mentions that he's a Time Lord and he has a TARDIS, and they're very happy about the fact that he has a TARDIS and they want to see the TARDIS. And because the TARDIS has been destroyed, it's actually underground, separated into little parts, which you can kind of see here, really, because you've got one half of the TARDIS there and the other over there, but it's separated into a lot of different parts. The Doctor sort of draws the Tractators in, and somehow I'm not entirely sure how it works. It's the brilliant writing of Christopher H. Bidmead, who wrote this story, who somehow managed to write in that the TARDIS just suddenly came back together after one Tractator came in. They trapped the Tractator, they killed the Tractator. Well, they didn't kill him. They actually took him on board and sent him to an uninhabited planet because he didn't want to kill him. Because if, as long as he's separated from the other tractators, the other tractators are no danger to society, really. And everybody is very grateful as Frontios for what the Doctor's done. They want him to stay, but he doesn't stay because Time Lords aren't supposed to go that far into the future. Which, again, I suppose does sort of relate to Utopia, how the Doctor says he shouldn't be here, he's gone too far. But so there's a few links with Utopia there, actually, which, whilst filming this, I've actually just realised. Yeah, so it is a good story. What we'll do is we'll give it a little bit of a turnover. You can pause the video here, have a look at the better overview of the story, really. It's worded properly and is a lot shorter than mine. And you've got the special features underneath as well, which you can see the special features of it. And as I say, written by Christopher H. Bidmead and broadcast between the 26th of January and the 3rd of February 1984. And I think Peter Davison regenerates in the July of 84. And then there's the first episode of the Twin Dilemma, and then that gets cancelled, and then they come back and finish that off. And Colin Baker's time as the Doctor is very underrated and not likely. He gets sacked. Sylvester McCoy comes in. That's not very good. They axe the show. There we are. Long story short. Anyway, there we are. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like and subscribe to the Cyberlord YouTube channel, as this is the end of the video now. If you don't mind, you could always go on to Instagram and Twitter and follow me at Cyberlord. It's very greatly appreciated, as is the subscription. And back over on YouTube as well. Turn on notifications to be notified whenever I upload a new video on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until then, I'll see you in the next one.